Hi, I'm Andy Baker. I'm an entrepreneur and musician who's been at Trinity for 6 years now. I moved down here from Sheffield with my wife Emily. We now have 2 wonderful daughters and we're really blessed to be part of the family at Trinity, even though it feels a little bit more like cousins at the moment rather than brothers and sisters, as we don't get to see anyone much in person. But thank you so much for everything that everyone's doing to keep things together at this time and retain that sense of family. So I've been looking at Exodus 22 and it was a pretty hard hitting exercise. I read through the New Living Translation and thought, do you know what, that's a bit too raw. I'm going to try the Message. It's sometimes a little bit more creative and poetic, but actually it was just as hard hitting. And I want to hone in on chapter 22 verse 22, which says, "Do not take advantage of the widows or the fatherless." It got me thinking about a lot of different things, kind of personally, but also kind of corporately as well as a nation. Personally, as a business owner, I need to make sure that I'm ethical and that I don't ever look for people's vulnerabilities to exploit them for my gain. And it got me thinking about, as a nation, how are we kind of dealing with this global pandemic? It's a personal pandemic. We're facing things personally, but it's a global challenge, a global problem. We have the vaccine here. We have a great plan to roll it out at kind of incredible speed. But what about the nations who have been widowed through war and separated from their neighbours? What about the fatherless nations, those who can't, kind of support themselves, those who can't negotiate with the superpowers and the pharmaceutical companies? Are we looking out for those people? So here are some prayers that I wanted to pray. Father, help us in our personal walk to look out for those in need, to love them and care for them. Father, in our dealings as business owners and consumers, may we always seek to do the right thing and stand up for what is right. And as citizens of this great nation, Lord, help us to uphold the values that are in your word, to support those who are in need, other nations, people in other situations. And I'd like to encourage you also, because this is what I do with my day-to-day, my week-to-week. I work in the music industry, and I'd love for you to pray for Christian artists and musicians who might be able to put to words what we're going through in these times and how we should be looking to God. Music is a very powerful medium. I got saved at a worship event when I was 12 years old, a delirious event in fact. So I'd love to invite you to pray for Christian musicians, for writers, for poets, for artists, so that the gospel can be communicated to people in a language that they would understand.